Hi friends, I'm Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today is Friday, so you know what that means? It's a reading vlog. I start off reading vlogs on Friday typically and read through the weekend, sometimes early into the next week. But this week, all the books are going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a YA, like middle grade reading vlog. I have a lot of books checked out that fit into that category. We have a couple of YA horrors. We have another like middle grade horror spooky book. And then one that I believe might be adult, but it is about kids, kind of like in the Stranger Things, like Scooby-Doo vein, I want to say. If you're new here, I do book videos, a lot of reviews, a lot of TBRs, wish lists, kind of books that are perfect for each season, as well as my reading vlogs, which is what you are watching now. I do a new reading vlog each week. Sometimes they're themed and sometimes they're just like random, what I have on my wish list or TBR for the month. So yeah, if you are interested in that kind of content, please subscribe. I do typically love spooky stuff. So a lot of my books are horror, thriller, suspense in that vein, but I also love some cozy reads, cozy mysteries, as well as some fantasy, and sometimes some like general lit fiction or contemporaries as well, but mostly spooky stuff. And especially because it is spooky season, today is actually September 22nd. So I looked and it's not technically the first day of fall. I looked and it starts on the 23rd for some reason this year. So, you know, that's confusing, but so basically it's fall right now. Now let's go over the books that I have on my list for this reading vlog. The first one is A Guide to the Dark, and this is about a haunted hotel room. So I love hauntings, and I thought this was fun just because it would be a little bit different since it is a hotel room, maybe like 1408 or like something like that in that vein. We have these two girls that are going on a tour of different colleges just to view them and kind of make decisions. And on the way to one of the schools, they have a car accident. They end up having to stay at this random hotel in this strange town. Now the book starts off, I am 20% into this one, and the book does start off talking about how people have died in this room and how strange things have happened. So really excited about this. I love a haunting. I love the idea of a hotel, like Bates Motel, kind of sinister things going on. So very excited about this one. The next one I am for sure going to be reading this weekend. I'm so excited about it. It's a new release, and this is a YA comedy horror, which I love sometimes. I also love some camp. Give me the camp. But this is about these kids. They throw a Halloween party and then people start showing up dead, and it seems like a slasher situation. So I'm really excited about it. I love any kind of premise like this. I'm a sucker for it, and I'm stoked that is a Halloween party. Like, what more could we ask for? So really excited about that one. The next one I am so excited about. I am finally going to read The Saturday Night Ghost Club. Now this isn't horror, this is like a fantasy, kind of spooky read. We have these kids who, it's kind of like a coming of age story, but we have these kids that spend the summer investigating ghost stories and ghosts within their town. So it sounds very sweet, cozy, a coming of age, and especially with the tie-in to spooky stuff. I am really excited about it, and I've only heard great things. And then the final one that I have in this reading vlog, I actually got an ARC from NetGalley, so thank you for that, but I also have the audiobook through Libby, and that is It Found Us. This is a juvenile, like middle grade horror, and we have these kids who go to play hide and seek in the cemetery, but this cemetery is haunted, and in their game of hide and seek, one of the kids goes missing. So we are following these kids trying to figure out what's going on, what the haunting is, and how they can get their friend back. I've been really into YA horror lately. I don't know why. I think it does feel a little bit cozy and comforting in a way compared to a lot of the other horror that I read. And sometimes they're very creepy. Sometimes they're even creepier than a lot of the like adult horror that I read. But with some, you know, more lighthearted stuff throughout, which I enjoy and I have a lot of fun. I also feel like the atmosphere in them are typically pretty good. So I can't wait for this vlog. All of these books I am highly anticipating, and I have only heard good things about most of them, so I can't wait. And I'm glad to have you along this journey with me to chat about these books. Today, I don't have a ton going on during the day, but tonight we are actually going to a haunted house. I'm so excited. We're going to Frightmare Compound here in like the Denver area. We've never been to that one before. We typically go to Terror in the Corn every year and we love it. And I do think we will end up going at some point in the season, but we're going to Frightmare Compound. I'm so excited. I think I'm going to do like a fun Halloween makeup look and then of course an outfit. So I cannot wait. And just, I'm so excited for the spooky season. And now that it's fall tomorrow, unfortunately it is hot outside. It is 80 degrees today. I might go on a walk. I think I might go to Walmart. I am 20% into a guide to the dark and I am liking it so far. The setup's good. I love that it starts out telling us about all the people that have died in this hotel room, and it seems to be just this hotel room. And whenever their car breaks down, they go to this hotel, and the guy that works there was actually like, we're out of rooms, because he didn't want to give them this room. And then his mom was like, no, we have one room left, and gave it to them. And I'm like, oh no, what a butthole. She knows, so that's messed up. I am 20% in and they've slept there one night, and one of the girls is having some really strange dreams already. And then they go to the mechanics just to see how long it's going to be for their car to be fixed. And I think it was like 3 or 4 days, so they have to stay there for a minute. And there's like some sort of event in town, and there's no other hotels available. So yeah, if things started getting weird, I would just sleep in my car for 4 days. I'd be like, sorry mechanic, I'm staying out here in my car, honestly. And I wonder if these friends might turn into like a sapphic romance too. I don't know. It seems like they kind of like each other, so I hope so. I love when that happens. So yeah, I am really liking it so far. I'm just 20% in, but I am loving the setup as a whole. So I'm gonna read a little bit more and I will update you later. Hi friends. Okay, so we actually just got back from the haunted house, and then afterwards we went and got one drink at a spooky Halloween pop-up bar, and we had a lot of fun. I just love Halloween so much. But I wanted to update you on a guide to the dark. I am pretty far in. I am close to being finished. After the last update, they did become friends with a boy who works at the hotel, whose parents own it, and we learned some things about his family, some stuff going on around town, and then it turns out that there's layers here. There's people that come in and become involved that have had family members or loved ones also stay in that room and something has gone wrong, and then they're just like researching, trying to find out what's really going on with this room and what it does to people, and you know, if there's something sinister in there or if it's in people's minds. And I am really liking it so far. We are having a lot of I mean, it is YA, so we are having a bit of like kind of childish high school back and forth between our two main character ladies, and how they are kind of like liking each other, but they don't want to tell each other that they like each other. They are both Muslim, and their families would be very upset with that. So, you know, there's that aspect there. And then one of them is kind of like into the boy who works at the hotel, and then the other one's getting jealous. So there's some catty, like high schoolish relationship drama there, which is pretty standard with a book like this. But overall, I do really like it. I don't think it's scary at all. It's more interesting, like a suspense mystery, trying to figure out what's going on rather than a horror, I would say. But there are some aspects to it where things happen, especially when they're in the room, where it's like, okay, this is strange. And then we're also hearing kind of like a POV from a person who is like part of the room. So there's like a whole other area that we were hearing from, where it's like the sinister voice, like telling us about them watching these girls and about how they feel about these people coming in and out, and them trying to like trap them, I guess. And that's really interesting as well. Overall, I am really liking it. I'm liking the representation here and the inclusivity, and just overall these characters. They're definitely some trigger warnings with like LGBT stuff. One of the girls has come out to their parents as bi. The other one has not come out to their parents, and they are scared to, but they are definitely queer. So, you know, they talk a lot about that and how their parents wouldn't understand. So there's a lot of that in there. And there's also like a heavy topic of loss and grief. One of our main characters, her brother has passed away. So that's a huge huge loss, and that follows her throughout this novel, so keep that in mind. But it's hitting on grief, you know, acceptance, family issues, and family trauma, and I'm really liking that. I'm definitely going to finish it tonight. I just have a little bit left, and I will update you probably in the morning because it is a little bit late now. It's like 11 p.m. So I'll update you in the morning. I am going to a Halloween yoga class in the morning. I'm so excited. And maybe I'll film a little bit there, but I will update y'all later. Hi friends. Okay, so I finished A Guide to the Dark and I did really like it. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. There were some issues with it. It definitely felt very YA at times, which, I mean, it is YA, so, you know, there's that. But I have read a lot of YA books recently that when I was reading them, the decisions and the way that the characters talk to each other didn't feel super YA. Like, they felt very mature, especially since these girls are about to leave and go to college. I kind of expected them to handle things a little bit differently, but overall, it does touch on a lot of heavy subjects: grief, loss, having families that aren't accepting of you, and things in that nature. So keep that in mind. It does handle those pretty well, I think, and I appreciated that. There was one part near the end that did surprise me that I was like, oh, okay. Overall, I really enjoyed these characters, besides just a few little, you know, tiffs here and there. And I love the idea of this haunted hotel room and it going after people and what it was like yearning for and needing. And then there was, you know, some characters in here that surprised me in a way where I was like, oh, I didn't expect them to be that or do that. So, you know, overall, pretty good. I'm giving it 3.5 stars, which is definitely a good score. Definitely not scary at all, so keep that in mind if you are looking for something scary. But for like a spooky, like suspense, trying to figure out what's going on here, why like a haunting is happening, I think it's a pretty good one. I haven't started another book yet. I did listen to a couple of short stories from the Never Whistle at Night anthology. I am really liking it so far. I'm 3 stories into it, and the first 2 were awesome. The third one was okay, but I am really liking it so far. I've just been like, whenever I'm driving, I've been listening to it in the car. So yeah, that's not YA, but I am really enjoying that. So maybe put that on your radar. Hi friends, it's Saturday night now. Today I had that Halloween yoga class, which was really fun. I had a great time. It was all decorated like a vampire's lair. They had like coffins and skeletons and all kinds of stuff. They were holding it at where they do one of the like Halloween pop-up bars, so it was already like all decorated for that, and it was just so fun. All the music was like Halloween music, and I had a really great time. And then after that, I came home. We had some lunch. We went to Cabela's and then to the grocery store. I know, super exciting. When I got home, I read for a couple hours, and we just watched the new Alien movie on Hulu called No One Will Save You. I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I love the aliens in this. Like, as far as like a creature feature sci-fi alien movie goes, I feel like I haven't seen one like that in a minute, and so I was totally down for it, and I had a really good time. The action is there. It's action-packed. There's some commentary on grief and loss and moving on, and I just, yeah, I thought it was really good. There's one part where it like tricks you to where it seems like it's the end, and it did something that I absolutely hate in movies, books, anything, and I was about to be so mad and so upset because I was like, this movie is so good, please don't end this way, and it didn't. It was just like a fake out, thank goodness. So that made me happy. But yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're into like a sci-fi alien spooky movie. 100% go for it. I had a really good time, and I have started There's No Way I Die First. I'm about 40% in actually. So essentially we have this girl. She has become popular on Instagram doing horror reviews, and she is throwing this Halloween party. And essentially, I mean, she's in high school, like all these kids are in high school, but essentially she's throwing this Halloween party. All these kids that she has invited are like ultra wealthy. She's ultra wealthy. And it's really interesting because she talks about horror and horror movies a ton, like kind of in the same vein as Scream or something, where it's hyper aware of what happens in a scary movie. I absolutely love whenever that's a tie-in. I'm a sucker for it. She talks about horror through the Black experience, which I enjoy as well. I'm liking hearing how she talks about Get Out and Us, and how there's all these movies where kill off the Black people first, or even Scream she mentions as well, where in the first movie there's like no Black characters at all. So I'm really liking that aspect of it a lot. This Halloween party, she's inviting like all these other really popular wealthy kids. Some of them are, you know, famous on TikTok or have gotten a record deal recently due to the internet, and another one's like an influencer for like working out, kind of like a beauty influencer kind of thing. So if you're not into like influencer characters, you're not gonna like this at all, but I love it. And I'd say the first 20-25% is kind of set up, where we're hearing about who is who, what they all do, how they all get along, or how they've intermingled. And the Halloween party starts, and they're having a great time and lots of fun. They watch Us. She had invited this like a licensed clown to come and do like this performance show at the party. And they come, and they're a little sus, like something's off with them. And then he starts going after people. So yeah, so then it just totally turns into a slasher. So far, I'm really interested to see where it goes, because there has been quite a bit already happening and quite a few people have been eat. So I am interested, because I'm still not even halfway through. So I'm wondering where this is going, how long this can go on. I'm not sure how it can successfully be fully slasher and then like running around this house for the next, I don't know, 60%. So I think it is going to go into who's doing what and who's at fault here, but I kind of think I have an idea of what's going on. And I hope it's not that, because I feel like it was like one of those things that it briefly mentioned a character, and then it was like they didn't mention them again. And in my brain, I was like, if that is who it is, I really hope not, because that's just kind of lazy. So yeah, I don't know. Overall, the scares, it's not scary. I rarely find slashers scary anyway, but I do feel like there's been a bit of like high stakes chases going on around the house with this person. It is kind of interesting because there are so many of them there that I'm like, okay, you probably could have gone after this person, especially for people like her, where she's like such a pro at horror movies, you know, like she should know what to do. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Right now, I'm probably between like a 3 and a 4 star. Like, I'm liking it. I'm having a good time. Is it all that I wanted? No, but I love the tie-ins of horror movies. I love the little mentions of Halloween things, but since it is a Halloween party, I was wanting it to be a little bit more atmospheric in that arena, like really hone in on the Halloween aspect. I'm not quite getting that so far. It's almost like, feels like they just are having like a get together with some friends at her house and they watched a scary movie. So it doesn't even really feel like Halloween, aside from like the fact that they had costumes on, and the costumes weren't good either. So she like talked through all the costumes, and I'm like, okay, there's like a couple of people here that I was like, okay, cool costume. But otherwise I'm like, okay, we're being a little lazy with the costumes here, especially when it's supposed to be like this big Halloween party with all these influencers. So that's just me being petty though. I mean, it really doesn't have anything to do with the story, so that's okay. But yeah, I am going to sit and read some more, and I will update y'all later. I'm almost 60% in now, and there has been a change, an extra factor added in to why this is happening, and I'm really liking it. There was also a really good kill. It is also one of my favorite kind of kills. If you've seen Ghost Ship, you know. If you know, you know. So I love that, and yeah, it's like definitely taking a turn for the better, and I am so happy about it, and I can't wait to see where this goes from here. Hi friends, it's Sunday evening now, and this morning I did read quite a bit more. No Way I Die First, and I am still liking it. There are some aspects of it that I'm like kind of confused by, especially with the slasher aspect and them like stopping having conversations, like conversations we should not be having right now. Like, people are dying, there is a man trying to murder us. Let's not have deep conversations right now. So that's a little bit frustrating. It's also kind of confusing because the last time I updated you, I was like, a change has happened. A factor has been added to this situation that I did really like. But this kind of switch is confusing simply because these kids are in high school. And some of these situations are like really intense in the sense of these kids have a lot going on. They have a lot of hands in the pot of different social aspects and social engagements. And it would make more sense if these kids were in college to be so involved in these things. And that's a little bit confusing to me. So there's that aspect of it, but still the slashing is good. I am ready for it to like get to the point, tell us who it is, because we've been running away from this person in this house for a long time at this point, like over 80% in, and I'm like, okay, I'm like ready to wrap it up now. I'm still liking it. It's still fun, like especially for like a slasher. Definitely has all the aspects of a slasher that you would be looking for, but there are a few parts where I'm frustrated and I'm kind of like a little bit tired of it. I'm like, okay, I want to know the answer, who's doing this, and I'm ready to end it. So hoping to get a good wrap up and hopefully a good twist. Like, I want to be surprised by who it is, and I hope it's not kind of what I am anticipating or predicted. So we shall see. Yeah. Today we went to my friend Maddie's house. We went to their housewarming party. They just got a house and it was so pretty and we had such a good time. I brought them a house plant and the guys just watched football and I hung out with some of my friends. I used to work with them, so and we're really close still, which was so nice. And yeah, I love all of them, so it was so nice to catch up. And yeah, then we went to dinner, but that's all, and I will update y'all later. Okay, let's talk about There's No Way I Die First. I just finished it. I will say I liked it. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It was good. It wasn't great. It definitely feels very YA. I mean, it is YA. So if you are someone that kind of dabbles in YA every now and again, I don't know if I would recommend this one as much. It definitely feels very YA throughout the whole thing. Now with this one, the things I loved, I absolutely loved the tie-in of horror movies, very Scream-esque, where our main character is so in tune and informed when it comes to horror, and I thought that was really fun. There were definitely parts where I like had to suspend my disbelief a little bit and just sink in to the fact that this is a slasher that is a little bit ridiculous and not very believable. I think that was like the biggest issue with it. You have these 10 kids and this one person that's after them really, and then why aren't they going after him together? And there's also another scene where they have him and they do not kill him, so that was very frustrating to read. I was like, what's happening? Why are we not killing this person that has murdered people? So that bothered me a lot. And you know, there are definitely parts where a lot's going on, and then we'll have these conversations, like deeper conversations between the characters. I'm like, why are we doing this right now? I don't need this right now. I'm ready for slasher horror. Like, that's what's going on. Why are we talking about other things, life, college, like other stuff? That felt very just out of pocket, off the mark, made no sense, and just really not meant for the time where it was talked about in this book. There were a couple of scenes in here that were so funny, like a scene with a Birkin bag that was hilarious, especially considering these are very affluent children. They are trust fund kids and very wealthy, and the scene with the Birkin bag was funny, and it's brought back again later, which I enjoyed, and I laughed a little bit at that. And then we also, you know, there were influencers, they have podcasts, and there was like commentary here on like social issues and how people are performative and things like that. But overall, it was kind of confusing because these kids were in high school. Like, I feel like it would have made so much more sense and would have been much more believable if these kids were in college. I don't know, like even like just add a few more years to their age and like their experience as a human being and what they've been through for it to make more sense that way. And I would have bought into it a bit more. Aside from that, there were a few kills that were really fun that I enjoyed. I think that I don't know if like the slasher villain was really believable or scary. I mean, I definitely didn't think he was scary, more like silly. And I wouldn't even say campy because I don't think it was trying to be camp, but I just didn't find him spooky at all. And then what ends up happening was, thank goodness, what I was hoping was not going to happen, because I was like, if this is what it is, I'm going to be really annoyed by it. Thank goodness it wasn't that, but it was like the next thing that I figured it probably was. So yeah, I don't think I was surprised by anything, and I definitely think it was a little bit too long. I think we could have cut some out of it, especially considering the like slasher part starts very early on, like super early on. So yeah, and also aside from that, we have like a romance in here, which I think could have been cut completely. I don't think it added really anything to the story, and it kept taking me out of it. I'm like, we're talking about this, oh, you're like alone with this person and you're like nervous about being alone with him, and then but I'm like, why? Because someone's after you. Why are we nervous about being with a guy? Like, someone is literally after you, trying to kill you. So I did not like that aspect of it. But otherwise, I think it's a fun time. Like, it's silly slasher. If you're looking for a slasher that's not too, like, the gore wasn't super intense or anything like that, and the subject matter was mostly pretty mild. We do have a lot of commentary on race and different social issues, which I appreciated. And I loved how she like kept bringing in the Black experience with horror. I thought that was super cool. And overall, I just thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I definitely think there were some things that could have been changed, like the relationship aspect, just like cut that out totally. I think it would have been way more engaging that way, and wouldn't have taken me out of the book as much as these conversations kept being had. But overall, not bad, not the best. And I would definitely recommend this to a certain kind of audience. Like, if you love slashers, for sure. If you are into like YA specifically, I think it's a great one. And yeah, I love the social commentary here, like I said. And it did, at the end of the book, they do recommend their top 10 Black horror movies, and I thought that was really cool, and I did want to go through those and just like mention those to you. So first they have Get Out, obviously, and then 2, they have Night of the Living Dead. 3 is Us. 4 is Attack the Block, which I haven't seen. I'm gonna have to watch that. 5 is Candyman. Phenomenal. I prefer the older version. The newer one is great too. I like that as well, but the original is just, it's fantastic. And then His House, which I also do like. It's not my favorite, but I do enjoy that one. And then 7 is The Boy Behind the Door, which I have not seen, so I'll have to add that to my list. 8 is Blackula, which is a great time. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, you should. 9 is Vampire in Brooklyn, another amazing one. And then 10 is The People Under the Stairs, which was actually in my like fall favorites video, if you have seen that. I love that movie, and I actually just recently watched that with Drew, and I grew up with this movie. So it's definitely not for kids. It is rated R. There's a lot of language in here, intense language as well, so just be aware of that. I do think there are some issues with it, but overall, for representation and having Black characters that survive and make it through the night within horror, it is a good one. And it's not super scary, more like camp, almost comedy horror. I also wanted to say that at the end of the book, it mentions that it is like 12:22 a.m. when everything ends, which was very weird. Like, I thought we were close to dawn. Like, like the pacing of it in that way left me like baffled. I was like, wait, what? It's only a little after midnight? Explain that to me, someone, because I feel like we've been running around this house for like 12 days, you know? So that was really weird, and I don't know why even like mentioning that, because I don't think us knowing that it was 12:22 p.m. added anything to the book. other than like confusion. I was like, okay, how is it 12:22 a.m.? Someone explain. I thought it was like almost 6 a.m. at least. I don't know. So hi friends, happy Monday. Today I have been reading. I started the Saturday Night Ghost Club this morning, and then I had an interview this afternoon, and I've been reading again. I'm about 25% in now, and I am really liking it. I know this vlog is YA. I don't know if I would call this YA. There is definitely some subject matter here that is more adult, so maybe keep that in mind. It's one of those situations kind of like in Stranger Things or Stand By Me or something, where you do have these kids, but there is a lot of other adult topics being discussed throughout, like drinking and alcoholism. Our main character, he's actually a surgeon now, and he's all grown up, and he does talk about surgery a little bit, especially at the beginning, but then he goes back and starts recounting his summer when he was 12 years old. And we are introduced to his uncle, and his uncle is kind of weird, a little bit funny, kind of into conspiracy theories, like a tin hat kind of person a little bit, but he also loves like spooky occult stuff and kind of believes in ghost hunting and speaking with the dead. And our main character, he's 12, he is also into kind of weird stuff. He does get bullied for it, which is so sad, but he goes and spends a lot of time with his uncle at his uncle's like occult shop. And then we have this other kid who comes in to talk to the uncle and is like saying, you know, his grandma passed away. I think it was his grandma or mom. I think it was grandma passed away, and he like wanted to make sure like she was fine and like she was able to go back home to where she's from and like be with her river in her town, and that her spirit could just be free. And in this, and in trying to ensure him that she is okay in the afterlife, the uncle is like, how about let's do like a ghost hunting kind of thing. It's like this device to like read the atmosphere or like speak to ghosts, I guess. And then they end up going to the funeral home where his grandma is at before she gets buried. And, you know, they're talking about embalming and different things like that, which is kind of funny. Also, growing up, my mother's best friend owned a funeral home, and she had two boys. They were like the same age as us, so like they were basically our brothers growing up. We spent so much time with them, and I spent a ton of time inside this funeral home growing up. So if that explains anything to you all, but and it's always so funny to me the way that funeral homes can be spoken about in books, and just like the theatrical like exaggerations within it, because you know, being around one so much as a kid, yeah, there was a room where they would handle the bodies and things like that. Really, it's just like, you know, a place of business. And you know, it taught me really early on too, just how, you know, once people die, like it's just a body, you know. But even though still I was raised around that and I'm used to it, but I just think that it's so funny how books exaggerate and paint funeral homes. And he really just comforts this boy and ensures him that, you know, her soul will be where she wants to be and she will be happy wherever she's going. So I think that's super sweet. But after this, the uncle's like, you know what? This is fun. How about we start meeting up and call it the Saturday Night Ghost Club and do like other ghosty, spooky stuff. So that's where I am right now. It is very interesting. Our main character, his dad, talks about his uncle. Like, obviously they think that the uncle is a little weird and strange. They still love him, but the dad is like very aware that his son is different, is into stuff that most kids aren't into. And his dad hears about this other kid and he's hopeful that they can be friends, which is sweet. I don't know where this is going at all. It is already quite a bit different than I thought it was going to be, honestly. So I hope that we just keep we're shown some more of these clubs and ghosty stuff, and maybe it does get a little bit real, and maybe they do find a ghost, I don't know. Or maybe it is just like a more wholesome, spooky read about this kid and growing up and like coming of age, which is fine too. So yeah, I don't have really anything else going on today. I just have to finish editing a video to go up tomorrow, and it's like a fall favorites video. But yeah, that's all I really have to do. I think that the interview I had earlier went well, and hopefully they said I should hear back in the next couple of days, so hopefully I hear something good. And yeah, I'm gonna read in my free time, and I will update you later when I have some more info of what's going down in this book. Hi friends. Okay, so it's Tuesday now. Yesterday I ended up spending forever editing my fall favorites, like ultimate guide video. I literally spent most of the evening on it, and I didn't get done till like 10:30. And then after that I did read a bit more of the Saturday Night Ghost Club. I got almost like 60% in, and I am really liking it so far. It's definitely interesting. Essentially we're just like following these kids hanging out with their uncle and their uncle's friend in this Saturday Night Ghost Club, where they go to these like different places, and the uncle will tell like these legends and like scare the kids a little bit. Kind of sweet, but also a little bit weird, but he seems like a really loving uncle, honestly, so I hope nothing like bad happens to him. I do think that they put the kids in some strange situations, but overall loving family members, so that's nice. But we are also hearing from our main character, like I mentioned, that he's a surgeon, and throughout he's like sprinkling in these stories about his patients, which is very interesting, and I am liking that aspect of it because I feel like it takes us to this other level of understanding our protagonist, and maybe understanding like how his time when he was younger plays into his adult life now or something. The ending of this book, it was so sad. I almost cried. It definitely wasn't at all what I thought was going to happen, and now that I know what has happened and they revealed some information, it totally makes sense and everything came together. There definitely was some of it that was so wholesome that I really liked, but man, the end was sad. And it does end up tying in our character all grown up and as a surgeon with what happened at this time, and it was just, I don't know, it was like not at all what I expected. It was really sad. It was actually sad, but like heartwarming at the same time, and kind of tragic. I overall really liked it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think there were just some parts of it that I was a little bit bored with, and I did really enjoy the parts where they were doing the club and we were hearing these spooky stories, because those parts felt very much like Are You Afraid of the Dark or something like that, where it was just like telling ghost stories with your friends or people you love. So yeah, I'm really surprised by this. I don't think this is a movie, but this should be a movie. It would make a really, really amazing one. So yeah, overall I'm very happy with this one. It's not YA, I wouldn't say at all, but it is a coming of age. But it talks about life, growing up, changes, and just some other heavy topics that as growing up you learn about, and tragedies and all kinds of really sad things. My heart. Okay. It totally was not at all what I anticipated. I did really enjoy it. I for sure recommend it. Hi friends, a little update. I had dinner. I'm in my PJs now. I watched some Jeopardy, and I have read a bit of It Found Us. I'm almost 50% in, and I'm really loving it. It's really just cute and wholesome. It is a middle grade horror about these kids who go and play hide and seek in a cemetery, and one of the kids goes missing. So we are following this main character. She likes to sleuth and figure things out and kind of like go around her neighborhood and try to solve things. And she was at the cemetery that night playing hide and seek when the boy disappeared, and her brother and her other friend Maggie are all working together to kind of solve this mystery, because the police have no leads as of yet, and like everyone's still searching for him. So they're gonna try to figure out as much as they can. It's been so cute. and a little bit spooky. The cemetery is supposedly haunted, so there is that, and they did see some stuff, so I'm wondering, is it really ghosts? What's going on? Did he get kidnapped or taken? What's the truth here? But overall, it's really wholesome, sweet, and pretty funny. Like, these kids say some funny stuff, and especially her brother, I'm finding pretty hilarious. So overall, I'm really loving it, and I'm quite surprised. With these books, I figure they'll be like a 3-ish star, like they'll be good for what they are, you know what I mean? But I'm actually really loving this one. So yeah, I am hopefully gonna finish it tonight. It's a short one, so I will update you when I'm done. Hi friends, it's the next day, and I wanted to give you an update on It Found Us because I did finish it last night, and then just close out this video. But It Found Us, I actually really loved. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Like, was it the most perfect thing ever? No, but wow, I had such a fun time with it. I really loved all the characters involved, and there were for sure parts that were spooky and creepy. Like, I feel like it definitely lived up to the spooky season hype. And as far as like a middle grade book, I highly recommend this. And I thought the characters are great. I thought they made really smart decisions, and especially when it comes to middle grade kind of horror spooky books, I feel like a lot of times the kids can make silly decisions, and I feel like that did not happen at all in here. Like, every time they were doing something, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I like that. And overall, the mystery and the twist and what was actually happening was totally different than what I anticipated. And as far as like a haunting, a ghost, like, we really do get that, and that doesn't happen very often with books. You know, a lot of times the hauntings and the ghosts aren't real. So, you know, I had a great time with this, and I highly recommend it, especially if you have kids. Give this a go. My only thing that I don't like about this is the cover. I hate this cover so much. I'm sorry. I don't know what is going on here. But maybe they'll revamp it and put a different cover on it. I don't know, but you know, that's just me being petty. That has literally nothing to do with the book. But otherwise, a really great reading weekend. I had so much fun with these books. I think that's kind of the thing with YA and middle grade, is you can have a lot of fun with it. They are a little bit more silly and lighthearted, and I've been reading just a lot of spooky stuff lately. Exactly what I needed, just a little palate cleanser, and yeah, I had so much fun. Yeah, Guide to the Dark, 3.5 stars, which is pretty good. Overall, that was a great one that I had a really fun time with. I loved the haunted hotel room, and the ending was pretty great. And then There's No Way I Die First wasn't my favorite. Definitely had some issues, but it was for sure a fun time, and there were some funny spots throughout, some good kills, and a good bit of gore spooky stuff, so that was great. And then the Saturday Night Ghost Club was awesome. My heart hurt, and I gave that one 4 stars. Definitely not as spooky as the other ones. Like, it's definitely more of like a coming of age drama with a little bit of like spooky stuff sprinkled in. But yeah, that one got me in the feels, and I did really enjoy it. And then yeah, It Found Us, a great time. So overall, I'm just so happy with how everything went this weekend. I had no flops, and everything was either good or pretty great. And yeah, I'm really happy about it. I hope that you found some options that you might be interested in. I know some of these books might appeal to others more. But yeah, I hope that you have a really lovely rest of your day. I am planning on doing a witches reading vlog after this one, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned, because next week I'll have that one up, and I'm really excited about it. I haven't started reading on those yet. I will start those in a couple of days. I'm like, today's Wednesday. Yeah, I just can't wait to do that one, and just read so many more spooky books coming in October. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it through. If you enjoyed it or like bookish content, please like and subscribe. That would help me a lot. And I hope to see you in a future video. Hope you have a nice spooky day.